Imagine buying a brand new car. The gas tank explodes in a minor collision, the engine destroys itself, or the model ruins a legendary luxury brand forever. In the 10th place, the Ford Edsel stands as Detroit's most spectacular financial faceplant. Ford poured $1 billion into developing a car that was hyped as the future of motoring, only to be met with a market that never materialized. The Edsel's infamous Teletouch push-button transmission, built right into the steering wheel, proved so unreliable that Consumer Reports warned buyers about breakdowns before the car even hit its first birthday. Chronic rear axle vibrations and a production shortfall of 300,000 units left dealer lots overflowing with unsold cars. When the dust settled, the Edsel had racked up $73 million in losses, bankrupting the dream before it ever got rolling. Number 9, the Chrysler Windsor from 1957, became a cautionary tale of what happens when speed trumps safety. In the rush to outshine rivals, Chrysler cut corners on the Windsor's frame, especially at the B-pillars, leaving thousands of cars with dangerously weak welds. Within just 2 years, more than 9,600 owners reported cracks and structural failures, a staggering number for the 48,000 cars built. Consumer Reports took the unprecedented step of warning buyers to avoid all Chrysler models, calling them unsafe. A settlement for $4.2 million followed in 1972, cementing the Windsor's legacy as a symbol of engineering negligence and corporate shortcuts that put lives at risk. In 8th place, the Ford Pinto turned a budget commuter into a national scandal. Ford's engineers placed the fuel tank just behind the rear axle, creating a deadly crush zone. In low-speed rear-end collisions, the tank could rupture and spray fuel, and it could ignite in a flash. The real outrage came from a leaked internal memo. Ford calculated that fixing the flaw would cost $11 per car, but decided paying out for burn injuries and deaths was cheaper. The result? At least 27 fatalities, 24 serious injuries, and a recall of 1.5 million cars. In the landmark Grimshaw vs. Ford case, a jury hit Ford with $127.8 million in punitive damages. The Pinto's legacy is not just mechanical failure, it is a symbol of corporate ethics gone off the rails, forcing the industry to face the true price of cutting corners on safety. Number 7. The Mercury Turnpike Cruiser promised cutting-edge luxury for the new interstate era, but ended up as a cautionary tale of feature overload and fragile engineering. Mercury packed this flagship with every futuristic gadget they could dream up: retractable rear window, push-button controls, and a 3-piece panoramic windshield. But the real trouble started with the basics. The cruiser's thinly stamped roof warped under summer heat, letting rainwater leak into the plush interior and turning new car pride into soggy frustration. Early warranty claims flooded in, over 5,800 within the first year, forcing Mercury to pour more than $1 million into repairs that could not keep up with the complaints. Consumer Reports flagged the cruiser for chronic leaks and handling quirks, while internal memos revealed engineers scrambling to patch problems after cars hit the road. In the end, all that flash came at the expense of reliability, leaving Mercury's reputation waterlogged, and the Turnpike Cruiser stranded as a monument to Detroit's obsession with one-upmanship over durability. Number 6. The Chevrolet Monza turned a simple tune-up into the stuff of mechanic nightmares. The General Motors marketing team wanted a sporty V8 in a compact shell, but the result was a service disaster. To reach the rear spark plugs on the V8 Monza, mechanics had to unbolt the engine mounts and jack up the entire engine, sometimes burning through 10 hours of labour just to complete a basic job. Official repair guides from the era listed average bills at $420, a staggering sum for a car that cost under $4,000 new. Dealerships were flooded with complaints, racking up over 14,000 warranty claims tied to engine access problems alone. While the Monza dodged the fiery scandals and safety recalls of other Detroit flops, it left owners and mechanics fuming over a design that put showroom sizzle above everyday practicality. The Monza's legacy is a cautionary tale. When design decisions chase marketing dreams, it is the people in the service bays who pay the price. Number 5. The Ford Mustang II stands as a lesson in what happens when a legend is sacrificed on the altar of cost-cutting. After the oil crisis, Ford shrank the Mustang into a lightweight unibody, hoping to lure buyers with promises of fuel efficiency and nostalgia. But under the skin, the Mustang II's front suspension geometry was its undoing. Excessive camber changes meant tyres wore out at alarming rates. Over 7,800 warranty complaints poured in from owners frustrated by bald front wheels after just a few thousand miles. Internal Ford memos reveal a relentless push to save money, even as engineers warned about long-term durability. The result was $3.2 million spent on repairs, and an iconic brand left battered. For many, the Mustang II did not just wear out tyres, it wore away the car's soul, leaving behind a cautionary tale about how quickly a legend can fade when heritage is traded for the bottom line. Number 4, the 1978 Oldsmobile Delta 88 diesel stands as a textbook case of cost-cutting gone wrong. In the scramble to answer the oil crisis, GM rushed a diesel engine into production. But instead of designing one from scratch, they modified a gasoline block and fitted it with undersized head bolts. These bolts could not handle the extreme compression of diesel combustion, stretching and failing under pressure. The result was catastrophic. Head gaskets blew, coolant flooded the cylinders, and engines seized in spectacular fashion, often before 40,000 miles. Warranty claims poured in, with over 12,000 catastrophic failures and a $45 million recall bill landing on GM's desk. Out of 420,000 diesel Oldsmobiles built, the disaster torched the reputation of American diesels for decades. Internal memos, including tense exchanges between John DeLorean and Oldsmobile brass, reveal executives knew the risk but gambled on short-term savings. That gamble cost GM dearly, both in dollars and in consumer trust. Coming to the top 3, the 1976 Dodge Aspen became a rolling symbol of Detroit's recall nightmare. Chrysler's engineers, under pressure to cut weight and costs, approved a front ball joint design that simply couldn't handle real-world stress. The result? Ball joints wore out fast, and in some cases the front wheels collapsed completely, sometimes while drivers were still on the highway. In one Ohio case, a failed joint triggered a fatal crash, sparking a lawsuit that forced Chrysler's hand. What followed was a cascade of 8 separate recalls, each one trying to patch new problems uncovered by the last. Over 1.2 million components had to be replaced, with the recall bill climbing past $30 million. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration logged thousands of complaints, and 4 deaths were directly linked to this flaw. By the end, the Aspen's reputation was in ruins, and Chrysler's cost-cutting shortcut had spiraled into the most lethal recall disaster yet in this countdown. Number 2, the Packard Clipper from 1957 to 1958 marks the tragic final chapter for one of America's most storied luxury marquees. In a desperate bid to survive, Packard abandoned its heritage and slapped its badge on a hastily reworked Chevrolet platform, hoping nobody would notice the difference under the hood. But the shortcuts were impossible to ignore. Assembly line workers recalled the constant clatter of misaligned drivetrains, a direct result of rushed tooling at the East Grand Boulevard plant. Owners soon flooded dealerships with complaints. Over 4,500 cars needed warranty repairs for severe vibration and premature bearing failure. The cost to Packard ballooned to $2.3 million, a staggering sum for a company already on the ropes. Only 31,000 Clippers left the factory before the brand collapsed entirely, its reputation erased by a rebadge job that betrayed decades of prestige. The Clipper's downfall stands as a warning. When a luxury nameplate is reduced to a cut-rate copy, the damage is irreversible and sometimes there is no coming back. And finally, in first place, the Chevrolet El Camino from 1959 to 1960 stands as the ultimate cautionary tale of a car with no clear identity. Chevrolet's attempt to blend the comfort of a sedan with the utility of a pickup resulted in a vehicle that satisfied no one. The El Camino rode on a passenger car chassis with a 77-inch bed too short for real work and a soft suspension that buckled under heavy loads. Buyers looking for a truck found it too fragile for hauling, while car shoppers balked at the awkward styling and bouncy ride. Sales figures tell the story. Just 22,246 units moved in 2 years. A catastrophic flop for a brand that typically sold hundreds of thousands of trucks annually. Internal GM marketing memos from 1959 reveal confusion at every level, as dealers struggled to pitch a vehicle that did not fit in any existing category. Letters poured in from frustrated owners and showrooms complaining of poor handling, rear-end sag, and cargo beds that could not handle even modest payloads. The El Camino's failure was not about a single catastrophic flaw. It was a fundamental misunderstanding of what buyers wanted, leaving Chevrolet with unsold inventory and a bruised reputation. Its legacy is a lesson written in steel and chrome. When you try to be everything, you risk becoming nothing at all. Across all 13 disasters, one pattern stands out. When profit and image came before engineering, disaster followed. These failures remind us every shortcut and ignored warning light leaves a mark. The legacy of these cars still haunts Detroit. Which flop shocked you most? Drop your pick in the comments below.